Hello, everyone. We are so glad that you are here with us today. We have a very special guest, very special opportunity to uh, live joyfully your life, and he will tell you everything about that. So, uh, make yourself comfortable, stay in a very pleasant place where you can hear everything, take notes, and be ready for that. For those of you coming out here and maybe for the first time, I want to tell you I'm Virginia Prodan. I'm the host of Courageous Leadership with Virginia Prodan. I am an international human rights attorney. I was raised in communist Romania, and I defended the Christian and human rights cases. By the grace of God, I was saved, even though I was considered an enemy of the state and ready to be killed. President Ronald Reagan organized my coming to United States of America as a political refugee, and I went back to law school. I am an attorney in America, and I'm a law attorney with Alliance Defender Freedom. You can read more in my memoir, Saving My Assassin. You can find it at virginiaprodanbooks.com. And with that, I am just delighted that you are here, and you will learn the joy of living. And our guest is very sure and very, I know you are an ambassador of joy. You are an absolutely amazing person. You are a mental wellness activist. You are also a philanthropist. You're an entrepreneur, speaker, author, podcaster, and your podcast, The Joy of Living, and The Eyes on Las Vegas are on the top 2% of all podcasts, and I had the honor and a privilege to be on your podcast. So, Betty, I am so delighted to have you. You have absolutely a different perspective. It looks like it's true that when God allows us to go to the bottom of our life, we realize how much we need God and how precious is our life in God's perspective, and how joyful we can be. So take it from here.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Now, Virginia, how can I make the categorical statement that all the thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are going to be tuning in, listening, and watching this are all good-looking? Because by definition, if they tuned in to listen to you and our show, it means they're always looking for and finding the good in life. That's the definition of a good-looking person. A good-looking person is always looking for and finding the good in life. And I am just so humbled and honored to be with you today and all the wondrous people listening, because we're going to touch upon the most fundamental aspect of the human condition, which is living in joy daily, no matter the circumstances, right?
Yes, because our life is in Christ. Our hope is in Christ, not in our circumstances. And you are reflecting exactly that. Tell us how God took you from the hardest moment of your life when you were paralyzed to now swimming every day 2 miles, 6 days per week.
Okay, let's unpack a wonderful story. And the reason that I tell the story is not just because it's good for Barry Shore, which it is. It keeps me young and handsome and alive and all kinds of good stuff. It's for all the people in the world who say, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. The point is, yes, you can, because God is unlimited and we're all part of his creation. So let's just start at the beginning. When I work with situations like this, addressing people all over the world, I begin by telling that we like to work with what we call the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals will enable everybody to be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So the first principle is your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose driven life, number two happens. That's a good number two. You go mad. Now, MAD is a wonderful acronym. It stands for Make a Difference. Virginia is a mad woman. She makes a difference in the world, as does every single being. Once you understand you have purpose and you're living a life of purpose. And the third fundamental is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example. Our show is carried over the internet, right? All over the world. People everywhere from your Romania, Baluchistan, Congo, anywhere in the world. They're right there in Dallas. They can listen and hear this show. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably say it has to do with the internet. Factually speaking, they're correct. However, in our world, Virginia, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. And of course, a tip of the hat and a thank you to Louis Armstrong for enabling that song to go viral. Not just has touched tons of millions, but hundreds of millions, billions of people around the planet. They all know that song, right? What a
Yes.
wonderful world. And whenever you hear the opening bars, what do? You can't help it. Look at Virginia. You smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life. Because SMILE is an acronym that stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. So let me tell you the story. Imagine, if you can, it's about me, but it can pertain to you. I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And in the evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed from my neck down. And it was not because of an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. It was a rare disease, which I never heard of the day before, took over my body and caused me to go from being perfectly healthy to completely paralyzed. I could only communicate by blinking my eyes. Quadriplegic, 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. Can't walk up a stair by myself. Can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant because of one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. That is the key to living successfully. And when you do that, you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Isn't that right, Virginia? When you live
Yes,
with God's
absolutely. You are perfectly right. And not only that, but God transformed you from an impossible situation to an amazing story. And you are now a courageous leader trying to lead others to let God transform their impossible circumstances into miraculous situation, miraculous new position, because what the world needs right now is to see God's power in us, not in our own power, but in His power, His transformation. We need people to look at us and say, and I mean, this doesn't come from me. Somebody after a speech came to me and said, "Your God is so powerful in your life. I want your God to be my God." And that's exactly what people can see in your situation. You were in an impossible situation. You let God to transform you, and now God uses your story to transform others.
Thank you, wonderful Virginia. First of all, every word she just said is true. And I want to share with you that it applies not just to Barry Shore or not just to Virginia, but to every single person listening, and to all the friends you're going to have to share this with. We urge you, share this with 5 people. You want to share with 100, 200, that's up to you, but at least 5 people, so we can touch tens of thousands of people around the world. So let's just discuss what you mentioned about being leadership. So leader is a wonderful word. We love words, we love acronyms, because a leader, the same letters that spell leader, Leader, spells the word dealer. Dealer, yes, a leader is a dealer in hope. Hope is one of the most important, most powerful words in the English language, right, Virginia? Because hope
Yes,
stands for helping others progress every day. Our
yes,
lives are only here to be of service. That's the big S. You ever see a Superman shirt has a big S on it? Well, some people think it stands for Superman. It really stands for service, because that's what a leader is. We deal in hope, and every single person is what we call a cog. Now, a cog, people think of a small piece in a big machine. So I want everybody to understand that a cog stands for channel of goodness. When you understand that you are a channel of goodness and you become a true cog, C-O-G, which is a child of God. When you're a child of God, there's nothing you can't do. So as an example, here I am, completely, totally paralyzed. I can only communicate by blinking my eyes. So I'm going to tell you a quick story, Virginia, that I think will resonate with people. So again, I had a rare disease. It's called Guillain-Barré syndrome. Again, never heard of it before. 1 out of every 200,000 people get it. Most people who get it get everything back. The good Lord loves me a little more, so he kept me paralyzed from the waist down. I can't get up from this chair. However, as you did mention, and we'll talk about a little bit more, I learned how to swim because of the exercise, what we call PTL, the 3 things that enabled me to go from impossible to I'm possible. And these 3 things, the PTL: prayer, therapy, and love. Not love coming from me, love being poured upon me by other people and the good Lord, and therapy. So the result of being involved with physical therapy and prayer is that I learned using adaptive devices on my legs, on my hands. I use a snorkel. At first, I could only move a little bit, and then a little more, and a little more. Now, as you said, I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. I've been doing that for 15 plus years. I can barely walk. I can't
yeah,
stand still. And yet I can swim uninterrupted for an hour and a half without stopping. Isn't that amazing? And I have
yes,
over 10,350 miles that we've recorded, because we record every half mile, 2 miles. And it's wonderful. The point is that everybody can do something. And that's the key. Keep moving. What we call motion is lotion. So we go from the point of being the word impossible and read that same word, I'm possible. Because there's nothing you can't do with the help of the good Lord. Because hope, that's what you are. That's a real leader, helping others progress every day. Right, Virginia?
yes, that is correct. But I want to mention to you, as you explain, that yes, we have a responsibility to share how God transform us, how God make things, impossible things in our life, possible in His power. But the people that are listening have responsibility to accept that and let God use those impossible situations in their lives to become possible. We cannot make that decision for them. You can stay in that impossible situation and be a victim for the rest of your life if you don't want to let God use you, or if you want to do it in your power. But if you want to experience God's miracles and change you in a way that you cannot even imagine, that you let God do this. That is a responsibility for each one of us, for us to share,
I'm so
for
glad.
them to accept.
I'm so glad you mentioned the V word. We love talking about the V word. There are people, not people who listen to our show, but there are people in the world that see the V word as the word victim. That's not in our vocabulary, Virginia. So you're a V word. You're Virginia. I'm a V word. Victor, not victim, victor. And the way to become a victor is to understand this word you called about share. See, when you share the news that you are a child of God and that you live that way, share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. When you do that and you recognize that you're a victor, let me tell you a quick story that happened just recently. So, because of my situation, I don't travel much. I live in a place called Henderson, Nevada. So it's more famous when I say these next two words. Ready? Las Vegas. People hear Las Vegas, they lean in, open their eyes and ears, they tell me more. Okay, so where we live is about 17 miles away. We can see it and such. Rarely do we experience it. However, the energy of Las Vegas is something wonderful. It's really very powerful to be involved with positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant energy. So I'm going to tell you a story. So I have thank God you mentioned, I have two podcasts. One is called The Joy of Living, and the other is called I in Las Vegas. And each one has more than 500,000 listeners around the world. So I'm blessed to be able to touch millions of people every month. Although recently I did give an in-person talk, a seminar, I guess we call it, and we had 1,127 people in the audience. And I'm telling the story about Barry Shore, and I'm telling the story about seeing miracles in life every day. You know, smile, you said that, right? And some people
Yeah.
raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? Do you have a place to sleep? Do you have family or friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple proof, Virginia. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching or you're listening, you have an obligation. Yes, an obligation to live life to the full and share with everybody that you know that the ability to live life stands for living inspirationally for eternity. As you mentioned, so when you have a relationship with the Creator, you're not just living in a particular place and space and time for a limited amount because God is not limited. When you're involved with a relationship with the Creator and you recognize you're part of the creation, well, guess what happens? You are an eternal being. Am I correct on that? Wonderful,
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
And therefore, life stands for living inspirationally for eternity. What you do makes a difference in the world. You're a mad person, you make a difference. People watch you, they listen to you. And when you sanctify your life and recognize that you're a child of God and you're living in a godly way, well, guess what happens? You make a difference, right? You
Yes.
spread out
Yes.
all that energy, and guess what happens? People see it. So I'll tell you quickly. My 8-year-old niece came over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile Smiel? So I thought about it. Smile, sounds the same. Why not? I asked her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old, that comes from Psalms, from the mouth, out of the mouth of babes, comes truth in the world. When you understand that everything around you is truly miraculous. My dear friend Virginia was sitting in one of the worst places on earth, a hellhole in a communist dominated dictatorship. And only by the grace of the good Lord was she allowed to be pulled out of there by the influence of the most powerful man on earth, who also was a believer, President Ronald Reagan. May his name constantly be for a blessing in the world, and says, we need this woman out of there and here in the great United States of America, where she makes a difference every day. So thank you, Virginia. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you very much for saying that. And I have to say that when people read Saving My Assassin, they will realize that. But, you know, anytime I was in the interrogation room and I walk in the interrogation room, I never thought that I would do what God uh, transformed me from a fearful person to a strong and courageous, and from sharing the gospel with them or sharing the gospel with my assassin who had a gun on my face. And today, by the grace of God, I'm here in America to share with people that our hope, the hope for America and the hope for the world, it's God, and we need to turn to God. And people, you're right, people are watching us, and we can share the gospel with words or without words. Our deeds will speak louder, and that is exactly what this world needs. And I am so grateful that many people are starting to understand the message. Yes, we need a good president, and we are grateful that we have Donald Trump as our president, and he is a man of God. He believes in God. He wants to return America to God. We need people in our government, but in the same time, we have responsibility as children of God, wherever we are, to share the gospel, to express the gospel in our lives. And God will perform miracle in us and through us for his glory.
So I want to make mention of two things here. And I'm going to tell a quick story, and then I'm going to make everybody laugh out loud. Let me tell you a quick story. It happened probably about the second or third week when I was in the hospital. Now, again, standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty. In the evening, completely paralyzed. Nothing moved. Nothing. Could just blink my eyes, communicate. So they were always picking me up and putting me on a gurney, moving me around, doing tests and such like that. They found out what it was, and you can't cure what I have. You can stop it so it didn't take over my lungs and cause me to die, which some people do die from this disease. So this particular nurse was a male nurse. He was wheeling me back to my room. As I said, must have been the second, third week while I was in the hospital. I had no idea what was going on still. And he stops the gurney and he leans down and he says to me, Mr. Shaw, can I ask you a personal question? So I could barely speak, Virginia. He says, this is my specialty. I work with people who are paralyzed and such. And I have to ask you a question. How come you're not bitter and angry? All the people I've worked with are always bitter and angry. So obviously I wasn't. I had a smile on my face still. I mean, I wasn't moving my arm, couldn't do anything, but he saw that I was not bitter and angry. He says, why aren't you bitter and angry? And I realized he was asking me the great existential question, Virginia. You ready?
Yes.
Why, God, why did you do this to me? That was not what I was asking. I was asking, dear Lord, just a regular guy. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? At that point, Virginia, I was 55 years of age. At that moment, I experienced the greatest calm ever in my life. Because I knew no matter what, it was all good. It was all good. And that made everything different. So now I could go forward. Again, it's going to be years before I move any limb on my body. Okay, I had my mind. So when the key is when you can have good thoughts, good words, and whatever deeds you can do are good, now you are what we call spiritual alignment. Everybody knows what a chiropractor is, right, Virginia? You know, you're feeling a little bit off in body, you go to a chiropractor and they go, ah! And they align you. Well, that's what we want to live with. We want to live with what we call spiritual alignment. Our thoughts are in good, our speech is good, and our deeds are good. Now you're in spiritual alignment. So now I'm going to make everybody laugh out loud. Can I do that? You ready?
Yes.
I want everybody to learn to love dog poop. See, she's laughing out loud. Did Barry Short just say learn to love dog poop? What are you talking about? Well, first of all, everybody knows what dog poop is, right? And we don't think of it as such a wonderful thing to love. But when we understand and we open our eyes, we're going to learn to love dog poop. Because remember, we love words, we love acronyms. Dog poop stands for doing of good, power of one person. So everybody knows Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Mandela, Elon Musk, and Jeff Bezos, and Donald Trump, and President Reagan, and Virginia. Well, oh, look at all those great people. They can do wonderful things that maybe not me. On the contrary, they were all made by the same being. The good Lord created every single one of us. Every single person has the same power, am I right? To bring into
Yes,
the
yes.
world.
And you know what? I believe you're right, because when you trust God in the hardest moments of your life, you allow God to transform you first, transform your circumstances, and allow people around you to see that God is the God in control of everything, of your life, your circumstances, and they will trust you even more. Maybe not all of them, but some of them will do that. And that is the most important thing in our life. Sometimes I remember thinking, in an interrogation room where everyone was against me, beating me and doing horrible things. I didn't have anyone for me, but I learned how sufficient God was. And that was a transformation of my life and the power that God gave me. Because when God gives you a purpose, He equips you with everything. You don't have to look around and see, oh, what can I do now, and so forth. No, He is doing everything in you and for you and around you. And that is and should be a very encouraging message for everybody who might be depressed, who might wonder, what is my purpose? What can I do? What can I go out of those circumstances? Just trust God and allow Him to use you for His glory.
So let's go back and remember, learn to love dog poop. So when you're outside, because dog, it's all around us, right? And people are picking it up, doing it. And let's say you're walking with a friend. So now you're walking with a friend and you see somebody picking up dog poop, or you see it there, and you stop and you start laughing out loud. And your friend says to you, "What are you doing when you talk?" He says, "Well, tell them I love dog poop." And they'll say, "What are you, crazy? What's that?" So, well, I got to tell you, I was listening to Virginia, and she had on this guy, and he was telling dog poop. You know what dog poop stands for? Doing of good, power of one person. Everybody makes a difference in the world. I can prove it to you in the law of physics. Everybody knows you go to a lake and you throw a stone into the lake. You see the ripples moving out, right? Well,
Yes,
people
yes,
think that when it gets to the edge of the lake, those ripples stop. Well, the answer is no. Physics tell us that energy continues unabated. It can't be stopped. There's nothing in the world that stops that energy. That's all because
yes,
the
yes.
physical world
It's in
made by
fact
the Lord.
in fact is the opposition of human reaction. Human reaction is revenge. Oh, somebody did something to me, revenge. God's reaction and God's teaching is love, love others, share love around you. Don't put yourself in a harmful situation. I don't believe in that. You make me make your decision, but as much as depend on you, live with peace with others and share the gospel, and the ripple effect will be amazing, because
Very
that's
well said.
what God wants to do.
Right. So
But
number
Ben,
one,
I just want to thank you so very much for being on our podcast. We love to invite you to talk. I know you have so many things to share with us, and we want to invite you next time to talk about the rest of your wonderful, wonderful ideas and what you are doing with both the joy of living, eyes on Las Vegas, and
and,
many.
and we must make one moment just to tell people about the Everywhere card. Because the Everywhere card, the mission of Barry Shore now is to give $1 billion to charity without costing any giver a penny. And the best way to find out, because I know time is short, is go to barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com, and look around, find out about the Everywhere card, about giving money to charity without costing anyone a penny. What a wonderful world, all directly coming to me from the good Lord. Thank you, Virginia.
Yes, Barry, you put your action in words. You put your smile in action. You are amazing, and you taught us so many friends. I hope you go and check out Barry's website, and you share this podcast with others. And if you have any questions, please go to virginiaprodanbooks.com/contact. Ask us question or concern that you might have. Everything, we are here to help you. Babe, thank you so very much
One
again for
moment,
helping
Virginia.
us.
Virginia, let's do two things. Let's give everybody a hug and a blessing. You ready? Hug stands for
Yes, one,
health.
two, three.
Come with me. Come
Yes,
with me. And a blessing
yes,
for Barry and
yes, yes.
Virginia. Go forth. Live exuberantly. Spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go
Love, love,
make a
love.
difference.
God bless you. God bless you. Yes.